TNG show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Star Trek, The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission, to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to boldly go where no show has gone before.
Naomi Wildman. I was setting it up. Oh. Welcome to the GNT show, where obviously we have no script.
Yeah, let's just get this puppy started.
As always, the beautiful, the lovely, the high-booted, short-skirted, big-breasted Terry Lynn.
That would be me. Admiral Shaw.
She's badass. It's Ceridian.
Good morning. It's Sunday on the GNT show.
You know the worst part of this morning? It's not the getting up early. It's the fact they're making me wear clothes to do the show.
It's time for Coffee Clutch.
Strap on your helmets, boys and girls. It's gonna get rough.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those mornings.
Let me put on my seatbelt, my helmet with the little blinky light on top.
For safety.
When we decided we were going to do the GNT show,
Man.
one of the things we said was no standards. GNT show does not go on the air because we're ready. It goes on the air because it's 9 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Mike could have snapped by then and killed us both. Pain sticks for Mike, evidently.
We have our production meetings on the air.
Well, it's the best way to get you to adhere to things.
Yeah, you've now set an expectation. That's the thing about the GNT show is we set no expectations.
I need more coffee.
Wow,
I'm trying to figure out wher or not I want to do general news or Star Trek news, and I figured
This is
out.
Terry
Okay.
having a series of small
It's news.
strokes, actually.
Well, it doesn't take long for this show to deteriorate, does it?
Straight the fuck downhill.
I don't always podcast, but when I do, I G&T.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the G&T Show, episode 136. I'm Terry Lynn.
Sup, Gettysburg 7. Look at her in her mock power utility uniform after this morning's festivities with her hard hat, and then it's Terry Lynn.
It's hello. I got the boots on with the little spikes on them so you can crawl up the poles.
And to my right, your left, there he is wearing his engineer uniform. But it's Scotty from the motion picture, so he's got like that weird kind of like EV suit thing for no reason. It's Ceridian.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Good morning.
Wasn't bad.
Very well done. Very well done. Oh, yay, it's Sunday, you guys. I know, no gel on true. Strange, isn't it, Baz? PF Dennis, do you have those boots with the spikes on them so you can crawl up poles?
Joe Lontrue,
Wow.
bitches.
That's very interesting. The chat room, for those of you who can hear us, be so kind as to make sure that anybody who comes in new, if Sorry misses them, make sure that they hit the new link, because our servers have moved. Our updates to the website have not been made, and so the feed is accessed from a different area. Oh, there's Adam. And
Wait a minute. So Sorry misses them. That's why we have a second shooter ready.
yeah, Sunsail.
Exactly. Nice.
Well, let's start off.
She's on the grassy knoll.
Let me tell you. Let's start off with Coffee Clutch. What the heck have you two been doing other than trying to? How was this week, gentlemen?
Mike, would you like to go first there,
yes,
Shaky Town?
I can go first. Well, as we mentioned this morning, I spent the first part of the week moving the server. That went fairly well, except for the fact that I didn't realize that we were actually getting a different address. So please forgive me on that. I'll get it fixed later this afternoon. But let's see, what else have I done this week? I've been working on my second anthology story. I finished the first draft, and then I realized I hate it. So I'm in major rewrite mode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been rewriting like a madman.
Now we know which of his children Mike likes the least.
And
the one he's rewriting, yes.
I've also have started, or I finished reading These Are the Voyages, and I have now started reading season 2. And I have to say, I'm enjoying it even more so than the first.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, book 2 of These Are the Voyages by Mark Cushman is now out. You know, I have to get in touch with them to find out what's going on with Vegas, but we shall see about Vegas a little bit.
Right on. I'm so excited. A lot is going on this year.
If people want a hint, open up a new tab on your browser and head over to the Star Trek Creation Entertainment site and scroll down a little bit. The fantasticness there under guests. Okay. Me. What did I do? Nick, what'd you do?
You know, I'm trying to remember. It's been a brutal week at work. Trying to get used to wearing reading glasses.
They're nice looking.
But it's not something I'm not used to. So there is quite the the transition for me.
Cool.
I just put my eye drops in.
Yeah. Well, I started wearing glasses in high school just because I was having a for some reason, we had a seat assignments in class. It wasn't like we got to choose our own seats. And I always ended up either in the middle or to the back of the class, and I could never read the old lady's handwriting on the chalkboard. And it's not like, so it was weird. I got these glasses so I could see far away. And then over the course of my life, it switched. Now I can see everything far away, but I can't, or I'm sorry, is that it? I can see everything close. Oh, it's still the same. I still can't see dick far away. And so, yeah, it takes a while to get used to, especially if you can see things close up, to take them off all the time.
Well, yeah, because I have to wear them for reading. So now, I mean, it's cool because, wow, like when I got a text on my phone the first time I was wearing, I was like, wow, what a difference. But the thing is like at a restaurant, I was reading my Kindle and the waitress came up, and the transition, it's like my mind is not used yet to having to make the transition. So
yeah,
it's like
it takes
extreme fuzziness when I first look up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's just really,
some time.
It's just a better, but I can tell you I will never ever have contacts because I have enough trouble putting eye drops in. I can't imagine trying to put how did people do that? And
I have no problem, but Alan does. Alan used to, at least.
Who thought, hey, let's make this little tiny piece of glass, back in the old days, and someone can put it on their eyeball, physically.
Yeah.
I don't know. The idea of contacts horrify me.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Just the idea of having to put my finger there, because I know that the first time if I were to have to do it, I'd wind up like with an eye patch.
You'd end up with an eyeball on your finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
you
never
look good,
really,
sir, if I may say so. I like your glasses. They look nice.
They do.
I thought, I had sent him a Facebook message earlier in the week saying, do you got Wi-Fi on those? Because they look heck out.
Yeah, I totally didn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah. I just thought they looked like totally cool. So yeah, I was not poking fun.
Baz says, I am not touching my eye. Well, Baz has to put in contacts. I think it's interesting because he does it with the tip of his knife. So, can you imagine? Are you there?
No, I am.
Oh, there you are.
I was trying to help Mr. Anthony.
What's going
Black
on?
Magnum. I was trying to help,
Is he in
Black
the room?
Magnum. Black
What's
Magnum.
going on?
Yeah, into the show.
I'll 2 nights this week. Goddamn, Terry, right? Caspian,
on
20
fire.
people on TeamSpeak and just getting together, and it was like, it reminded me of 2 years ago.
It was awesome. 20 some odd people in the chat room on Friday and
Shuttles
Saturday
flying
night.
everywhere doing shuttle PvP.
Shuttle PvP, which I only participated in once, which was okay. I was way okay with that. It's crazy stupid. You have to set the death count to like 100.
Yeah, I got invited to that. I just couldn't make it. I was up to my ankles and.
Yeah, we talked about you.
We did. We talked about you.
Oh, nothing bad, I hope.
Oh, of course.
Well, always
Mike's too good to join us.
It was very cute because I think even Nick, you were the one that said, "Where's Sorry?" Because it was like he was the only one missing, and Lem, I guess, messaged you. Was it Lem?
I think it was Wolf, Mad Wolf.
Mad Wolf messaged you, and then he came back and said, "Oh, that you were invited, but you couldn't make it because you were busy." And I said, "Well, that's no doubt. I'm sure he's either writing or reading or fixing something." And so
I was playing
right.
Arkham City.
Oh,
I was playing Arkham City, and let me read to you the text that I got because I can't do it justice trying to remember. Hold on.
It was very funny.
Get your butt in TeamSpeak. Terry and I and others are in here.
Mine was nicer. Mine was nicer.
And then here's another one. Party in full swing on TeamSpeak. Get in here. Bring Terry too.
Mine was party in full swing on TeamSpeak. Bring your gorgeous ass. I love her.
She's Julie, our cruise director, is what she is.
She is. She's awesome. So yeah, Caspian Division was on in Fuego.
That's a good
weekend.
point. There's like 19, well, there's like 15 of us, or 16 of us. So there's like 15 shuttles and Sunseol's Dyson Destroyer.
Dyson Destroyer. Yeah, I heard about that last night. I was listening in. It was pretty funny. Sunseol had her Dyson Science Destroyer due to some kind of a bug.
Yeah, she was in her shuttle.
Yeah.
And when we went into the queue, she goes, "What the hell?"
It was so funny. She was like, I'm not in the ship. I was in my shuttle. And then she very sweetly cloaked and hid behind an asteroid for the...
No, and until she decided to uncloak because
somebody started cheating.
Somebody started jamming me with her Dyson Destroyer, hitting my little scorpion fighter, but that's okay because I survived.
I don't think it was her.
I was
really
screaming,
don't.
"I will survive!" No, I don't think somebody. You know what I think happened? I think somebody in the heat of everything meant to click like beam overload or something, and hit calling in the photonics.
Right.
Buttons were flying. It's happening so fast in the shuttle event.
It's not like you have the choice of. See, I believe you, Sunsei. I don't think you touched anything. I think it was somebody else.
You. With a voice like that, I believe you. But like my little scorpion fighter is just vomiting plasma torpedoes.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to pay attention to that. Hey, who's shooting me? Who the hell am I targeting at this point? All of that, and I can just imagine somebody trying to do it, especially if you're getting rocked and you're like trying to do heals and stuff.
Friday night's battle was pretty damn funny, and it was very, very short.
Oh my God, they were short. And then the ground PvP was hilarious.
PvP was hilarious. Yeah, that was great. I did not do Did you guys end up doing the ground PvP last night?
Yeah, we did.
Blades only?
Well, yeah.
People cheated. People cheated.
No shields, no kits, or anything like that. Lem with her shields on.
Oh, naughty girl.
Mm-hmm. Cheater!
So yeah, Mike, I think you would have appreciated that, at least the ground PvP with no shields, no kits.
You know what we discovered? The Ferengi whip. Fun. If you're not wearing any shields or armor, the Ferengi whip is a vicious little weapon.
Oh, very cool. That's nice to know.
Yeah, but you have to...
Yep, Alan just looked. He's providing spoilers.
Yeah, right?
I know.
Yeah,
doing,
we're
Alan.
not there yet. But that's
Isn't
awesome.
that awesome?
Doing, Alan.
Isn't that awesome?
That's really cool.
I'm excited about that. So, well. Cast.
Kipley Brown. Cast Modine. Oh, he has no sound.
He has to use the linky. Cast. Use the linky. Okay. So, shall we move on? Yes. What else did you do?
I was gonna. I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
What did you think of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the last couple of weeks?
Well, other than the fact that they've been repeats.
Well, I think what they're doing is because of the NCAA tournament. They didn't want to be up against
Done with it.
Yeah.
I think they've only got 8 fucking episodes.
I know.
Well, the good news is that next week is a good one. So I really want to find out what the hell is up with Deathlock.
I know. How great was the Sif episode?
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
And it brings that's what I love so much about having the interconnectivity with Marvel, with the whole universe, is because she says that Odin is the one who sent her down to go get Lorelei. Well, who's Odin right now?
Yeah. By the way, Lorelei?
Yeah. So something's either Thor 3 is going to have a lot to do with Lorelei, or future S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes will. I'm not sure.
You know what? I think that my feel is that they're going to keep it to like S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, because that keeps the Thor universe alive while they're making, because we've got Captain America 2 comes out this Friday. I'm going to see it Thursday night. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I believe it's Avengers 2. So we've got a while before the next Thor.
I know. I'm okay
Groot
with this.
in Lego Marvel.
Aww.
Sorry.
What did he say?
I just found Groot on Lego Marvel.
Okay.
What? I was trying to find a way to relate. I've been dealing with kids, so we've been playing a lot of Lego games, and yeah.
The Lego games are awesome, though.
Oh, I love them, and I'm glad the kids like them, because those are the only games that I like play that are like, not so.
I like Legos.
I've been playing Arkham City,
Lego
right?
MMO.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, did you see, Terry, the screenshots and everything from Arkham Knight, the next game?
No, I haven't.
Holy crap on a cracker. It
really
is. But I'm really pissed because it's only, from what I'm reading, it's only coming out like on the next generation, so like Xbox One and PS4. Well, I've got a 360.
Yeah.
Which, to me, this smacks of
Yep.
only certain deleted scenes on this edition and only certain deleted scenes.
Yeah. And I bet you anything the new Xbox 4 doesn't play half of the 360 games that you need it to. It doesn't back.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it's like
not really anything new, though. I mean, they do this.
Well,
stuff with
Nintendo.
every release.
Well, the Nintendo we have plays
the older games.
It plays the older games. I can put my GameCube games into my Wii.
Interesting.
And,
I've been playing Arkham City, and it's a huge Sandlot game. And I finished the main story. Like, I finished the storyline. I'm only 50% done. So now I'm like having to go around and like collect everything and do everything. And it's Christ, it's been awesome.
Oh, very cool.
Bye, Carrie.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to correct something that I said on last week's episode.
All right.
Evidently, I said that Janice God damn it, Sunseal, that Janice has a landline, and that when I asked her why, she said, I don't know. Evidently, that's not the conversation we had.
Oh, okay.
She has the landline so that her girls could talk to their father and not use the minutes on their cell phone. But she's probably going to get rid of the landline and save like $40 a month.
Yeah. Oh, I understand.
But the ombudsman contacted me.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
We love her.
Can Cass Modine hear us now?
I hope so.
Because get well, Cass Modine.
Yeah, no kidding, honey.
Wait, you trying to outdo Paul?
I apparently the two of them are trying to have, some kind of a competition. I'm a little afraid to start playing in the Foundry.
Mike, do not start trying to one-up them.
I'm avoiding Foundry right now.
Okay, good.
I've been hearing stories. I mean, even before I found out about Cass this morning. I've been hearing stories. So Foundry needs a lot of love apparently, and just ain't getting it. So I can understand why everyone's kind of like ripping hair out and having heart attacks left and right.
I know.
We need to have Al Rivera on and talk to him about what he's doing to the community.
Al has already asked us to come onto the show, so it's our job now. The ball is in our court.
All right, Paul, Cass, what we're going to do is we're going to try and get Al to pay for your medical bills.
Now we'll never get him on the show.
For those that don't know, Terry, why don't you?
Casmodian and is the latest victim of heart-related issues, shall we say. A small heart attack, I guess. Small, maybe? Well, he's in the chat room, so that's a good thing. And he had another stent put in. So to our lovely, wonderful, huggable cast, we are so sorry, but we're so happy that you are okay.
And this is what happens when you have a 30-year love affair with bacon and ham.
And the Foundry.
Paul says he'll take some assets instead.
There you go.
Some new assets.
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, a lot of new stuff is coming out. We'll talk about that when we get to Stowe. Okay, let's start with Star Trek news. Let's get this done. I love a parade. Okay. Star Trek news.
I am so proud to be a talkie geek.
We've got our problems with the film, which we'll get into on our dopey little podcast and nitpick it to death.
Star Trek news.
So congratulations to the always dreamy David Mack.
There's Legos?
No. Star Trek news.
Yes, the story behind the story. The movie that never was made.
They got a Klingon!
I know.
Sold.
That's right, I'm gonna throw in a Buck-Mackay rookie guard. That's right, a Buck-Mackay for people. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Star Trek news. Remember last week when we talked about the Ars Technica? No? Okay.
Oh, yes. How so wrong they were about Darmok.
Right. Did you see the follow-up, the follow-up in the Washington Post?
No, I did not.
Okay, let me see if I can get this done.
It was in the Post?
Well, the Post, there's a story that goes with this. Okay, so let me post the link in the chat room. All right. So the Post, the Washington Post, brings up this interesting graph that was created by Kevin Wu using the Internet Movie Database as his source for the popularity of television shows. And he used Star Trek as one of them. And certain episodes, you can see how popular they were by where they fall on this chart. Well, if you go back over to Ars Technica, because I think that he ended up doing it for them, and Star Trek Jerry, come on. And they kind of had to, here it is. They kind of had to reel back on there. Well, they kind of had to, even though it was a parody and it was a comedy article, which it really was, they had to go to the chart to see see where Darmok fell on the chart. And if you look at the chart in the Ars Technica, it shows that it's actually one of the most popular Star Trek Next Generation episodes ever made. And not surprising. I think a lot of us flipped out about the fact that Darmok was putting on there, was put on the panel or put on their list. But I thought it was quite interesting to show where the guy who wrote the article, Peter Bright, all of the shows that he said were bad, pretty much all of them fall below the median line of popularity, except for Darmok. So there was scientific proof that he was wrong.
Oh, cool. Right on.
I think we'd agree. And I think most of us agreed last week when we read his column that,
he was out of
the
his
loss,
mind.
yeah. Shades of Grey, totally sucks. Yeah, but Darmok, dude, you fucked up on that one. You fucked up on that one. And that one will always be one of my favorite, and probably, in my own opinion, probably one of the best written episodes out there, because it did deal with how do you deal and how can you deal with a species that doesn't have linear language like we do.
By the way, Terry?
Yes?
In the Voyager novels, there's
Yes.
a member of that race who I believe is a counselor on the ship.
Oh, that would be fascinating. So how do they deal with...
No, he speaks fairly well. There's a few times where he's got to struggle to say, to find it, but it's fun.
That's actually really, really cool. I have to read that.
Counselors, they're supposed to listen more than they speak, right? So it kind of works. So, okay.
Well, I know that Mike has already seen this. I think pretty much everybody who's a Trekkie has already seen this. But yay, we have Klingon beer now, Romulan ale, and we now have Klingon beer.
And there's also Vulcan ale. But yes, Warnog is awesome.
And I'm loving the fact that it is a licensed product from a brewery in Canada. So that means we can all order it and drink it and have fun. And it's legit, people.
Awesome. I hope they have some at Vegas. I want to.
Jesus Christ, Woody. I mean, Lanny. Good Lord, girl.
What is she doing? She being
Oedipus complex. Their legs open.
An Oedipus complex. That's hilarious, hon. That's really funny. I love that. What else is going on? Oh, by the way, I think this is from, this is an old, did anybody remember seeing the video of Wil Wheaton talking to the little kid about being bullied for being a nerd and what his response was?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, guys, I'll put the link in the chat room. He just fucking rocks. That's all there is to it. Wil Wheaton rocks. Reminds the little girl, gives her wonderful advice on how to deal with being who you are. And that's what I loved about it. And he's done it more than once. He's been asked to say these things at more than one convention. But I think that it's important for people to hear, and it's especially important for little children to hear, especially because when you get made fun of for doing something and having fun with something that you love, and somebody makes fun of you for that, how do you deal with that? So his advice and his take, I think, is not just great for little kids, it's great for all of us as human beings. So give that a watch because it's spectacular.
Wil Wheaton for president?
I think his talents would be wasted in the White House. Sometimes people are just more effective in the what do they call it? The private sector has more reach without the
headies.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what else is going on? Star Trek news. Actually, it goes straight into that was it for Star Trek news. Not a lot this week, other than Casmodian having a heart attack.
I don't know if that counts so much as Star Trek news. Wouldn't that be more in Stowe news?
Yeah, let's go there.
I want to play Star Trek Online.
Engineering here. Warp engines are online.
Course laid in, Captain.
Engage.
Your ship.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Your crew.
Move out.
Your destiny.
In Stowe news, Casmodian had a heart attack.
He's okay though. He had a stent put in, and now he and Captain PF Dennis are the latest victims of the lack of assets in the Foundry. Now,
Okay,
does that make you guys feel better?
I need to just make a statement here. From now on, Baz, our show is a stab-free zone.
Yeah.
Seriously, just stop stabbing people.
Stop stabbing people.
Just stop stabbing people.
Stop stabbing.
It's not cute anymore. Do you know what our crews have to do to clean the carpet? We have white carpeting, okay? You're just causing issues. We have to pay the undocumented workers overtime.
Well, you have to understand, Baz lives in Australia. Everything, even the air is trying to kill him. He's just self-defense.
That is true.
But you know what happened? Baz stabbed the Malaysian airplane.
Okay, I have to say, yeah, time limit is over. It's officially okay to crack jokes about it because damn.
CNN made it okay by becoming 24/7.
Becoming the joke. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Well, back to Stowe news.
Sorry.
Did you guys see? Okay, well, first off, when does the Mirror Universe event? I know. When does the Mirror Universe event end?
The 4th.
The 3rd, I think.
Oh,
somewhere around there.
I thought it was the 4th.
4/3, I think, is what, I don't know.
Oh, you may be right, yeah.
That's Thursday. They typically end on Thursdays when they do the patches.
Yeah. So, Thursday's the 3rd. Yeah, okay, then it's the 3rd.
Yeah, and so yay! I only have one more day left to finish my Mirror Universe event, and I have to say I've been having a lot of fun with it.
You know what's fun with it is because you pretty much have to pug it all the time.
Yeah,
I've been with some amazing groups.
I have too.
I've been with some
really crappy
not so amazing group. I'll tell you what really sucked, and you absolutely, the good groups are a mix of a couple of techs, couple of engineers, and science, because it was just me, an engineer, and a bunch of techs, and
I'll tell you,
the station was getting hammered.
Yeah.
My worst run was just me and 2 other people. Everybody else left.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that is one where definitely you need 5 people.
You have
That was hell, and it was...
That's horrible.
It must have ran about an hour. It felt like an hour.
Oh, my God. That's torture. That's torture because that's when you hear Obisek going, you know...
We're down to 20%.
Or worse.
We're dead again.
Exactly.
You Klingon bastards.
We're systems rebooting. I'm like, shit. We lost that
Sensei just said April 7th because of the outages it ends.
Oh, thank you, Sensei. Oh, yeah. There were a couple of outages that I was kicked off in the middle of the Mirror Universe event last week. But
oh no, did it reset your timer or were you able to?
No, I couldn't. I had to wait.
That fucking sucks.
Well, but to be honest with you, it wasn't that big of a deal because
were you getting your ass
it was
kicked?
late at night anyway, and so when I got kicked off, I just went to bed.
Right.
So,
no, but I mean, did it reset so that you could first?
To be honest, I can't tell you because I don't really know. I didn't try because I couldn't get back in.
Yeah.
I just assumed I'd wait another 20 hours.
Yeah.
I did manage to finish mine though.
You did?
I did get my hubby.
Wasn't it like when I finished, it was like, wow, I breezed through this finally, and because it wasn't like the Reputation thing that takes like months. It was like it was nice to.
I have to say I'm liking the new focused event thing. I think that's great. It gives endgame people a reason to come back in and do something specific, and then on Friday and Saturday nights, Caspian has been on fire. So everybody's back in the game at least on the weekends. It's been great.
Driving in my shuttle. Turn on the radio.
So coming up, I believe in April, should be April 15th, I think is when it usually happens, is Federation Day, right? And Klingon Day of Honor. And now we're going to have the
Republic
Day as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That'll probably be around April 15th. I think that's the day it happens.
The 15th? I thought Federation Day was like
April.
Isn't it the 4th?
Is it the 4th? It might be.
I know it was.
Sunsail.
I thought it was near the beginning of the month
April
of April.
3rd, Lanny said.
Thank you, Lanny. So April 3rd, I am wrong.
Well, that's when the
it's
event
tax
is starting.
day is April 15th. That's what that is.
Jesus Christ. Make sure you get them done because you don't want Brunt FCA to show up.
Brunt FCA. I love Brunt. And did you guys see? Okay, now a lot of season 9, I can't believe it's already coming out, which will be released in April, is already up and running on Tribble, including parts of the new Undine battle zone. I have not yet had a chance to see that stuff because frankly, I don't know how to get into it. I loaded up Tribble yesterday and had absolutely no clue how to access the Undine material. That was just me. So I'll try that again today. But the new art update and some of the new other updates regarding the Undine have been posted at StarTrek.com. And really cool. Yeah.
Speaking
of Undine.
I'm sorry, Sensei. Oh, God damn it.
I know, she makes you laugh right at the worst possible time.
Speaking of StarTrek.com, did you see the Geek Girls article that had a whole bunch of photos of our friends in it?
I will go look now. I'm in it, so I will put the link in if I find it.
Yeah, it was part 2. And
part 2 of the Geek Girls. Oh, I loved her stuff. Her part 1 was wonderful. I didn't
and Starfleet Mom and Star Trek Junkie and Sue 1 of 2 and just a whole remember the MRES that Janice took the picture with?
Uh-huh.
All their photos are in there.
Here it is. Study on Geek Girls copy.
Sensei, oh, that's funny. Oh, she says all the Undine stuff is PVEQ'd events.
Okay, so I need to pull up the PVEQ. That's fine with me. I'm actually good with that. So yeah, the Studying Geek Girls. I put the link in the chat room.
Yeah, there's Jolene at the top.
There's Starfleet Mom.
Treklet and Junkie.
Star Trek Fan, Treklet, Star Trek Junkie, Morass.
And then Sue 1 of 2 and Stacey Viceroy.
Nice. Very, very cool.
Stacey Viceroy, by the way, she's the Alon of Troyes there. Yesterday, she had her first match in roller derby. She's on the team in Canada, yeah. Thought that was really cool.
Well, be very careful because our friend Star Trek Junkie was doing that for a while and she unfortunately ruined her knee.
I think it was her knee, yeah.
Oh, she blew out her knee. So be careful. We don't want you to get too hurt. I mean, you're gonna get hurt. That's all there is to it. Just don't get too hurt. So the Undine stuff is in, and when it comes to Star Trek Online, the other stuff that is brewing is actually quite exciting. I think not only I'm trying to figure out, didn't at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, we get because I need to ask you guys a question about the story and the Romulan storyline. So, but at the end of last year, didn't we get the notice that not only would we be getting season 9, but we would be getting a new expansion this year?
They were playing with the idea of a new expansion or going with like a big season. They weren't sure which. At the time.
Okay, because I seem to remember them saying that they were going to be doing an expansion, and it was like announced in that blog because I remember writing about it. But here's the reason why I brought it up was just because it reminded me of Legacy of Romulus. So last night I thought, it's been a long time since they've played this new Romulan that I rolled for the Dyson Sphere project, so she could get the Dyson Science Vessel. So I rolled a new Romulan science officer. So I decided to play her character a bit yesterday, and I had a really good time because I got to go back in and remember the episode Mind Games, the really messed up one where Hakeev brainwashes you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. At the end of that episode, because it connects with Terrace, which is where you end up going to the Hobus system, and you find out that Terrace was the one who essentially blew up the Hobus star and destroyed Romulus and Remus in the process. And she tells you, it wasn't my fault. I was misled as to what this device and what these devices would do by Hakeev. And then you get pulled in to the gate and you talk with Sela and Hakeev. And Sela totally cops out to giving Terrace the device and says, I'm just doing what's best and we may have to use cruel methods. And I'm thinking, you just blew up your entire homeworld? So is it really Sela or am I misunderstanding something? Why would I'm just confused. Why would Sela blow up Romulus?
Because Sela never. Let's think about Sela's planning abilities, okay?
Okay.
He's still thinking.
Yeah, let's just think. Sunseal, stop, Sunseal. God damn.
We're gonna have to put Nick on a do not watch the chat room.
No, it's not that. I'm just trying to, because Sela's plans are the worst. I mean, she makes Ferengi plans look good.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
I was just really confused because at the Tara says I want you. I watched or I chose the dialogue boxes.
Every time you say Terrace, I think of Geek Nation tours. Sorry.
Oh, I know. That I chose the dialogue because I wanted to hear her side of the story. So I went through and she says, Hakeev misled me. He gave me this device. I did not realize what it would do. I did not understand that it was going to do this, but you have to understand that there's a bigger plan and that we're all a part of something. Now, the player can totally assume that that bigger plan is Iconian in nature.
Right.
Be that as it may, when you jump through the gate to escape the self-destruct and you end up on Hakiv's ship and he brings Sela in and the two of them have you in the interrogation room, that Hakiv and her totally cop out to knowing about the device that blows up the Romulan Empire. And I'm thinking, wow, would both, well, Hakiv, I would totally buy it. Hakiv is just, he snapped a long time ago kind of a thing. And it didn't help that you took his eye out. I still take great joy in that.
Senseo says, what if Sela is an Undine and the Iconians kidnapped her from us, killing her at the end of the Vault arc?
I don't think she'd be dead, but...
because the
but
new
totally
Undine Borg arcs, boy oh boy, are the Iconians involved now.
Yeah. I was just really kind of like, wow, that makes me feel better. If I can't imagine that even if under the influence of another race like the Iconians or even the Undine or even the Alachi, that Sela would bow so low as to destroy the one thing she wanted to have control over. You know what I mean?
I can.
You think
I totally
she's that batshit?
If I can't have it, nobody can.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Now, speaking of Sela, Terry, real quick, did you see that Denise Crosby is on The Walking Dead now?
No.
Oh my God!
It was a huge. Yeah, it was the big reveal at the end of last week's show. She turned around and she said, "Welcome to Terminus," and she's going to be a creepy. She's going to be one creepy fuck on this show. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see that she's getting more work too, because I just like to see any of our Star Trek actors getting work. Right?
Tonight's the season finale, isn't it?
Yeah, nice to see her as accountable.
Ew.
Hey, it's an ugly world out there in the zombie apocalypse, Terry. You got to do what you got to do.
Ew.
Oh,
well, what makes
stop it?
Isn't that a zombie then?
No, because they're alive.
Oh, okay. Are there zombie cows in Walking Dead?
We have not seen any zombie cows.
No, I have not seen zombie cows, but cows, horses, dogs do get eaten by zombies. So,
P.F. Dennis says she's on Ray Donovan on Showtime.
That's it. I was gonna say she's on another show too.
That's the one starring Don't Say, Nobody Say, Nobody Say, Nobody Say, Don't Say, Don't Say, Don't Say. Christ, his name is on the tip of my tongue because Liev Schreiber, right?
Oh, I think so.
He's like the great voice for documentaries. I mean, he's a good actor.
Speaking of great voices, we lost a big one this week. Did you see that? I know it's not Star Trek Online news, but Alan, what was his name? Roy?
Adrian? Oh, the guy that does the voiceovers for the movies, the trailers.
Yep.
In a world where Denise Crosby can't get a job.
Al Douglas. Yeah.
There she is, Terry.
He passed away last week of pancreatic cancer. But talk about the guy. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, it was the guy.
In a world where the Foundry causes heart attacks.
Exactly.
One man stands between them. He is P.F. Dennis.
That's him. Hal Douglas. So give him a Google and listen to some of the stuff that he did. I mean, he was... I think most people who do voiceover would say that Hal Douglas set the standard by which trailer work would be done.
Yeah. But, it almost became cliche after a while to hear his
it definitely
voice.
Did. But talk about, God, the guy could just... He was also, I remember NBC, one of the NBC News magazines, or 60 Minutes or something, had done a little piece on him about 10, 15 years ago, and about how fast and professional he was. And at the time, it was a big deal because I think that he charged some outrageous amount. It was like $5,000 a line or something. And
yeah, but he was like one take Hal.
But he was like one take Hal, exactly. So he was actually quite cost efficient. But you got the voice. I mean, the guy could just walk in and do his work. And
you know who should take that job now?
He had a driver and everything. What's that?
You know who should take that job now?
Who?
Black Magnum.
Black Magnum.
Can you imagine?
See, the problem is with Black Magnum is I would always end up thinking about trailers for Shaft.
Well, the thing is, knowing Anthony, if I'm sitting in the theater and I hear "This fall, heroes come home," right, and I know it's his voice, I start thinking about some of the stories he's told. So it's some romantic comedy or something, and I'm thinking about him telling a story about, hey, why is that black man in the front of the line? And I would be dying.
Him wanting a sandwich.
Yeah, see, he won't charge money. He'll charge for grilled cheese sandwiches.
Grilled cheese sandwich. That's
chicken and
thank
waffles.
you, Matthew Anderson. That is Hal Douglas, or was it? He was a consummate professional. The guy just went out and did his job. He was amazing. Well, I'm glad that you talked that out with me, because I was really concerned yesterday about the idea that Sela would be the one to destroy Romulus and Remus. That's just kind of. But the good news is for Star Trek Online is if you are a Mac user, the Mac beta is now over with. It is now live. So if you want to play Star Trek Online and you only own a Mac, you can actually do that now. Just head over to Star Trek. Actually, it's now Art Games. God bless it. Oh, but for your Mac minimum system requirements, you need Mac OS X 10.7.5 or later. You need an Intel Core 2 Duo of 4 gig or better of RAM, 10 gig of free disk space, and your graphics display should either be an Intel HD 3000, or not display, but card, an NVIDIA 9600M, or an AMD HD 2600 with 256 megabytes plus of VRAM or better. Network, you need to have a broadband internet connection, of course.
Is it me, or are those specs kind of steep?
They are pretty high, to be honest with you. They did that on purpose. I remember when they went through the beta and a lot of people said, gosh, I can't even play with my iMac that I have from a certain thing. And their thing is that we can't Mac, you need to start high, and that way when the new stuff starts coming out, the game requires it, because I think it translates. I think the way that they're doing their Mac is that it's translating from one to the next. It's not it's not a pure access thing. So it requires the conversion. There's something about a conversion that happens. Don't ask me. I'm not a Mac person. All I know is that if you're going to play on Mac, you have to have some pretty hefty specs. But again, it's a pretty hefty game.
I know I was talking with Chooch this weekend, or last week. He finally resolved his issue and is now in Stowe. And he had to lower his settings, down to the minimum in order to do it. But it's just amazing. PCs, that you can run them on practically, you can run Stowe on practically anything. And then on Mac, it's like this, so high end. It's like, wow.
I'll tell you though, ever since I got the new computer last year, I look at the game as it's played on the lap, because I used to play on that big laptop, right, the Toshiba. And yes, the game runs on it. But oh my God, the game doesn't run on it
it doesn't look anything like.
It doesn't even look the same. It does not even look the same.
Yeah,
it's very, very good. So it's so beautiful, and I'll tell you, every game. The only game I'm not going to be playing is going to be Elder Scrolls. I was in the beta for the past year and a half, and I have to say, I don't like it. I could never get past level 10 just because of the way that the movement occurs. Like I told you, Mike, that the way that you move in Elder Scrolls Online is going to be very similar to Neverwinter, where you have to use your mouse to direct. You can go from first person to third person, but you still have a reticle that controls your out of combat movement.
You had sent me a means to get in, and I had installed the game and tried to get in, and then realized, oh wait, they're only open on weekends. I can't play on the weekends.
So I have a kind of an off the wall question. If you're blind, how do you set up your iPod so that you know how to get to whatever you want to listen to?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I do not know.
You asked the AT&T technician when you're getting it set up.
No, I was thinking about this. I don't remember what made me think of it, but because there was a video that somebody, I know this is off the beaten path, but I meant to bring it up earlier because it was a legitimate thought that I had. And I only have about 2 of those a week, so. But it was a deaf woman who got the cochlear implants, and I can never get enough of watching those, the reactions to hearing somebody hearing for the first time. Because as I'm losing my hearing, I get more emotional seeing people getting their hearing because I'm so happy for them. But then I was thinking, okay, that's cool. Once, probably in about a year, they'll be able to listen to music and see, what it's all about and all of that. But then I was thinking, okay, because I was putting my eye drops in as what started me thinking about this week. If I were to lose my, if you were to lose your sight, would I rather lose my sight or my hearing? And then I was like, I wouldn't be able to see the Marvel movies. So I think I'd probably rather lose my hearing, but then I'd miss music, the whole bit that you play this game with yourself. But then I thought, if I lost my sight, how would I know how to find on my iPod what I wanted to listen to? I mean, this is actually something I'm actually interested in. Does anybody know how a blind person would go about doing? Is there like a voice thing that they have? Or I mean, I know maybe it's stupid, but it's just something that occurred to me, and
I don't know. I think at least.
Oh, Lanny said, I believe there is software to verbally tell you what buttons are what. But on an iPod?
Who knows? Yeah, I'm sure that there's lots of different things that the sight impaired can have access to that, allow that if there's software that converts into hearing. I mean, it was a big thing for the audiobooks too, remember? It was they weren't converting, they weren't allowing the devices to do the text to speech.
Sunsail says there's a setting that inverts the colors. Your iPod has a base Siri-like thing that's comes pre-built. Oh, so I could scroll through and it would say like folder The Killers and then just go from there. And so like that's interesting and your headphones have a mic for it. Oh, because I was thinking as I was thinking about it, I was like, with all the Star Trek technology we're seeing come to life, the tricorder and all of that. How long is it until there's a Geordie visor type thing?
Well, it depends on what kind of technology breakthrough that there is with the studies of the optic nerves and the connections to the brain and, how...
somebody's got to be working on it.
Oh, of course. And then they're going to have to get over the whole, the society's take on that too. I mean, to be honest with you, cochlear implants are an advancement that many people in the deaf community actually frown on. So,
I saw a really bitter post about stop watching those videos, and it just smacked to me of I can't be happy for them because I can't get one.
And that's a shame, but there really is, the deaf community is probably one of the more complex societies that I've ever been on the periphery of, and just really on the periphery of. It's very, very complex, and it's part of the reason why, we were talking, gosh, Mike, it's fun. I'm gonna post this. For those people who don't know, we love to support our friends over at Star Trek, at AstraStanfic.net or .com. They still one of the best resources for great Star Trek fan fiction. I was talking with Pauline or somebody. We were talking about our inspirations, our sources of inspiration for any type of writing, not just Star Trek writing, but writing on the whole. What stories and what things about the world around us inspire us to write tales. And one of the things that was my inspiration for
Oh, you mean
Cassidy,
Pauline down in Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's great. And what was the genesis of my Cassidy character? And she's the most complex character I've ever really worked on because she's fucked up. Way fucked up. And a lot of it was this mix of the Tin Man episode from TNG, as well as the integration. Oh, Tin Man, and then what was the episode where Troy loses her Betazoid abilities?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
she becomes bitch on wheels.
Oh, well, and here's the thing. And then I was talking, so those two episodes, and then you add to it that complexity of society, like the deaf community, on top, and you throw that in as a layer of the Betazoid populace. And that's how I ended up with Cass, was how do you tell a story where in Betazoid culture, this is part of who you are. This is just a part. Hearing to us would be like being able to be an empath or a mind reader to a Betazoid. It is just a natural sense to them. It is a sense that humans don't understand because they don't have it, but to them, not having it is a disability. And that's what I loved about the idea. And Tam has almost the complete opposite problem. He hears too well. All he hears is noise. It is driving him crazy. It is another form of disability. So I took those and I threw kind of Tam's problems, or the exact opposite of Tam's problems, and threw them onto Cassidy, and then threw that deaf community complexity on top of it. And that is now how do Troy and Riker deal with the fact that their child has what the Betazoids consider to be a disability, but Riker doesn't, because he doesn't understand and he doesn't see it that way. And it brings all of that crap back up from Troy's bitchiness, as you called it, but he saw it as the loss of a limb. glimpse. She saw it as the loss of a sense. She saw it as going blind. And so when you brought that up, I was like, that's the inspiration. That was exactly the deaf community in the here and now has that same kind of complexity to it. There are a lot of people who are, do you give minor children cochlear implants to treat your disability, but another group of people from the same community sees that as what you're doing is making them, or you're disconnecting them from the deaf community. And it's a terribly complex, extremely emotional thing. So when you see those comments about don't watch those videos because that's because that person identifies more with the social community than seeing themselves as having a disability. It's extremely complex. And one thing I will never understand, because thankfully I'm not hearing impaired, and I don't know, how does somebody from the outside even have the right to even date one way or the other? It's an extremely personal decision. And that's what a lot of people are upset about, is like, it's so personal. Do you wait to let your child make that decision for themselves as they get older? Or do you as a parent have the right to force a treatment on a child that may not have wanted it when they're older? It's good. It was a great inspiration for Cass, because she ended up.
And before I forget too, did you see who was on, was it NCIS? No. Shit, hold on.
Sunseal, you're right. It said some betazoids don't have any sort of empathy ability at all, and they're frowned upon by other betazoids and are called gammazoids. Exactly. That's how Cass is. Cass, although she's a little bit more complex about not having any sort of ability, although I just gave away something, but there is a very tense relationship between her and her mother. Let's just put it that way.
Did you see who was on NCIS Los Angeles on Tuesday night?
It was, oh my gosh, I saw this. God damn it.
Televixen, Mary Shawinski.
That's right. The Empress herself.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. She played a Russian mistress.
Played a Russian mistress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I just laid in bed and stared at the ceiling for hours after.
You.
Not like that. That's Mary. Stop it. You know I would never disrespect Mary like that.
I know, that's true.
But no, that's so exciting that she was on there.
I know, I was so excited too. I only saw it on her Facebook. She posted the picture of it.
Yeah, well, John Champion did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I thought it was her. Okay, cool.
Because he was like my Russian mistress.
That was awesome. That was very cool. So, Mike, we do have some news about a book, don't we? We're supposed to be talking about books.
Books. There are these bound things with paper and words.
I've heard tales of the dead tree format, but I don't believe them. No, you're wrong. They're this thing that you put on your Kindle.
Amazon, ebook. If you haven't bought it, I will cunt punch you. That's a great line.
It's a good line.
Do you read Star Trek novels? I'm sure Swallow has some stories he could tell us.
I love big books and I can't lie.
That's one of the really good things in life. To me, as long as it's enjoyable to read.
That's a good book. Wasn't it a good book, Mike?
It was.
That's because Mackenzie Calhoun is badass.
No, it is not a Cardassian generational epic.
I was like in heaven.
It's really good.
Right on.
Gotta find 8 of 5's page. 8 of 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just finished an awesome book.
Oh?
Sins of the Angels, the Linda Poivian, the first of her trilogy. So far, it's a trilogy. It's really like dark urban fantasy. But I wound up looking some things up because I didn't know if she made stuff up or if these were real parts of the whole angel lore and all of that. Oh no, she did her research, and it all is things like the Grigori and Naphim and all of that. And it was pretty damn interesting and a lot of fun to read. And you know what was really fun, Terry? It was one of those things where you know that the characters are going to wind up together. It's just when, and then when it does happen, it's because they're not allowed to be together because the whole he's an angel and the whole bit. But boom, kiss. Okay, I gotta go because this is wrong. So it's not like all of a sudden it becomes a weepy, tear fest. It's like next thing you know, it's like blood and fighting and everything. Really good.
Huh, interesting. And what's the name of it again?
Sins of the Angels.
I signed up for the Star Trek dip collection.
From Diamond?
No, the one from Star Trek. The little one?
Yeah.
The Ship of the Month Club?
Yeah.
Yes, I signed up for it.
So you could get the plaque, wasn't it?
I was the plaque. I admit it.
How did I know?
Oh my God, I have to
when
have
Kush put the plaque up, I knew that like 1,000 people were going to...
Yeah, I'm tempted to, but I still can't.
It was on that edge of, let's see, last year it was just too expensive, and now it's just my monthly fun
I
stuff.
spend that money on porn, so
I was gonna say that's my porn thing, yeah, right?
Janice's eyebrows just arched up as she's listening to this at work.
8 of 5, the Trek Collective, his blog, is always keeping us up to date on all of the wonderful new stuff that's coming out for the books for Star Trek. And there's a great clip or snippet from an interview that was done with David R. George about his upcoming book, The Lost Era, One Constant Star. Or actually, the one that comes out after that, if I'm reading this correct. Is that right, Michael?
I'm sorry, what was that?
It says, starting with the confirmation from David R. George III that he is underway on his next Star Trek novel, the next one after June's Lost Era of One Constant Star. David didn't reveal any more information beyond the fact that he's writing a book, and he announced the news on Facebook. Also, Dayton Ward also announced the fact that the manuscript for The Seekers.
CBS approved it.
CBS approved The Seekers for Volume 2, correct? The second book?
Yes.
I did. And then Jeffrey Lang has been spilling many beans about his forthcoming post-equations data novel called Light Fantastic. Lang recently started a new blog, and in his second post, he recounted the tale of how Margaret Clark talked him into returning to Trek to write the book, and in the following post, he discussed what he has in store for us. A few highlights below, but the full story is on Lang's new blog. You head over to the link that we put in the chat room to 8 of 5 the Trek Collective. You can pick it up from there. Lang describes his concept for the book as an Ocean's 11 type caper story with Data in the Danny Ocean role.
Interesting.
I thought, yeah.
All right, I want your reaction to something.
Is it about this book?
No, it's something somebody posted on Facebook.
Oh, so it's a squirrel. Just want to make that clear.
It has to do with writing.
Okay.
It seems the writers of Enterprise don't understand what a Vulcan is. I can understand T'Pol's departure from what is the norm, but on Vulcan I keep seeing ones talking about happiness or them being thankful, mad, lying, etc. Things that aren't Vulcan.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
disagree. If anything, I think Enterprise laid a fantastic foundation of how the Vulcans became who they were. Especially because I
thought it was it was interesting showing a comparison to religious doctrine as well. I mean, you have the Bible, where it's all word of mouth, or nothing is really, the source isn't really verifiable, versus a document that is verifiable, and how that changes a society.
But even, people that say, oh, they can't be happy. Sarek was happy married to Amanda all the way back to Journey to Babel. They just don't show it.
I would agree with that. Vulcans, including Spock, use the terms like, I find that it's satisfactory to see you again.
Right.
Being satisfied is an emotion.
Right.
They acknowledge it. They acknowledge the existence of it. They just don't reflect it in their tone. They're holding that back. I agree with you, Nick. I think it's just how else are they supposed to express anything? Like, just go around saying, I don't care all the time?
And do they really think that no Vulcans would lie or be duplicitous or anything? They have politicians, of course they're going to. I mean, I'm just starting to get real tired. Anyway. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, we'll be talking about that. I think that's something additional. Back to 8 of 5's blog, he also says that later this year, Greg Cox's next novel, Foul Deeds Will Rise.
Greg Cox is a machine.
He is, in a good way.
Yeah.
That's isn't that the Lost Era book, or am I thinking something else?
Well, wait a minute. No, I think the Lost Era book is David R. George's. He's doing One Constant Star.
Yeah.
And
Greg did a Lost Era one a while ago, I think.
I think you're right. And I'll look it up. That Foul Deeds Will Rise. It's available for pre-order at Amazon, 352 pages.
Greg does a lot of original series books.
And it doesn't say. Star Trek, the original series, Foul Deeds Will Rise. There you go.
Yeah, he does a lot of original series books.
So that he says that there's an interview apparently with him at Trek FM's Literary Treks podcast.
Nice.
So the link for that is also at thetrekcollective.com. I'm funneling people to 8 of 5's site because he's just got so much crap in there. It's awesome.
And it's a good time to tell people, if you have not listened to our supplemental with the Athena's Daughter crew, please do. They are hilarious and awesome.
And Cox already has also revealed he's already in discussions for his next book, which will most likely be TOS as well. The rest of the interview was mainly talking about the recently published TOS Voyager crossover, No Time Like the Past. One thing he revealed in that discussion was that the book almost became a lot more complex with a plot involving time travelers and an appearance from a time ship relativity. Ultimately, he felt that he was getting a bit too tricky and he pulled it back from a twisty adventure in time just to be the twisty adventure it became. So yay for Greg Cox not making it all that messy. But what was interesting in Trek Collective's post was that there was this outline from back at David R. George's list about Jeffrey Lang's list about what's going on. There's so many things going on about what's going on with the new kind of Ocean's 11 type Data book. But a couple of things caught my attention. Number one, it's not a ship-based story. Number two, Data is no longer a Starfleet officer. David Mack was already pointing him in the directions of cold equations. I think that's a great idea. I don't know about you guys. I'm excited about that. Number three, Lal is a major character.
Wait, what?
Lal is a major character.
Wait, what?
You must have fixed her somehow.
Wait, what?
So it says here, I decided to return Data, at least temporarily, to the world that his father, Noonien Soong, left him when he expired. Data is as a casino owner.
Jesus Christ.
Just let that idea roll over you for a bit. Yeah,
please call it the Royale.
If you do, you'll understand why I had trouble following through on the Ocean's 11 plot structure. Lal is a major character. Probably the most impressive thing about the episode is that she didn't go for cheap sentimentality at the conclusion and have Data express grief. I agree. I was very happy to bring Lal back and work out some of the mechanism, if you'll pardon the expression, of her persona. She's a complex character because she's simultaneously very adult, very childlike, and very adolescent. Probably the closest thing any of us could imagine to living with Lal would be raising a genius-level intellect that also has some moderately serious emotional difficulties.
So it's like what Janice has to put up with me.
Number four.
Lanny says they brought Data back grown, getting real disappointed with the direction of the Trek books.
Oh, I actually am enjoying it. Having him end up as a captain of the Enterprise, as he does in Stowe, is just so lame. And so that's why I was glad to see that he's no longer the captain of the Enterprise in the game. Moriarty is back. Well, that's it, Anya, for a little bit too. In this book, we got Lal and Moriarty back in a caper.
They spelled tentacle wrong. Sorry, they spelled tentacle wrong in this ad. Sensei, I'll just put up.
Not listening, in other words.
Listening, but Vincent Price is giving us the finger. It looks like.
Stay away from the chat room. Yes, Michael.
Moriarty isn't he holding a grudge?
Well, the last time we saw Moriarty,
he flew away. What he thought was to explore, but he was actually in that.
Yeah, and then you're gonna wake him up and tell him that he's not. What he's been living for the last 20 years, 30 years has been a lie.
But he has been living it.
Has he?
So here's what Jeff Lang says. Moriarty is back. Now, honestly, if I had had my druthers, I wouldn't have mentioned this in the cover copy, as Pocket's marketing department did. But I can't deny it had the desired effect. Apparently, a lot of TNG fans have wondered whatever happened to the holographic professor and his erstwhile companion, the Countess Regina Bartholomew. Well, now you'll find out. And I'm sorry to say, it's not a happy story. The professor goes a little bit cray, as my son would say, but once you learn some of the details, you'll understand why and maybe even sympathize a little at first.
Interesting.
So that's what he's saying. Yeah. So now we have Lal, Data, Moriarty, and what we're assuming might be Regina Bartholomew in a Ocean's 11 type caper. Pardon my laughter, but this book sounds hilarious.
We need Wesley.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, all it needs is Wesley.
In the Matt Damon role. Yeah, in the Matt Damon role.
Oh, those are great. So head over to the Trek Collective and do a little follow-up on some of the lit stuff that's going on. Do we have an Ask Dayton this week?
I totally dropped the ball on that.
2 weeks in a row.
I was busy. I apologize.
Dayton, we're sorry. We flaked on you, sweetheart.
Oh, he probably didn't even notice.
No, he posts every week now. You know this. On his blog.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he listens anymore, Dayton.
Yeah, he kind of does.
He does.
Shh, I'm giving a hard time. Jesus Christ. God. It's like having drunk Ed McMahon next to me.
Who put Ronnie Cox in the chat room?
Don't look at the chat room, Terry.
I know. Don't look at the chat room, Terry.
Now Terry's staring at Cox.
I am.
Voyager? We were supposed to do some Voyager this week.
Yeah, we can do Voyager.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Are you programmed to sing?
Computer, activate the emergency command hologram.
You are my sunshine.
This is Captain Catherine Janeway of the Federation starship Voyager.
My name is Chakotay, and this is Tuvok.
If I were Captain, I'd open every crack in the universe and peek inside and keep some things to yourself.
Well, you and I have the Delaney sisters.
Lieutenant Carey is an idiot. I look like a Klingon.
Harry. You've turned this into one lousy day for me, Torres. I never broke any record.
Mr. Kim, at ease before you sprain something.
I'm doing a self-diagnostic.
These people are natural-born idiots, if you ask me.
We're Starfleet officers. Weird is part of the job.
I'm already doing a job for the Federation.
I told you, we're secret agents.
All right, where's my Voyager companion? I'll go get it. I'll be right back.
I know that she got a lot of it waiting for us.
All right, I have it over here. So because we always do this at the beginning of the Voyager stuff, is where did we leave off? Does anybody remember? And you have a list, Nick, that is different from the way that they're shown. The way that they're shown on the DVDs is different from how they are in the book.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, the next one we were gonna talk about was Good Shepherd.
That is season 7.
Season 6.
Oh, we're still in season 6 there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow, and you're like halfway through 7, right?
Yep, I'm halfway through 7.
Wow, we got a lot of catching up to do.
I know. I have to find, Matrix Zero we talked about, right? That's the end of season 6. There's the Good Shepherd. Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about Peb's parents the last time. Oh, this is that we were talking about. This was Voyager's response to the Lower Decks. You already are like, eh.
Well, no, go ahead. You go ahead and talk about it, and then I'll tell you mine.
Oh, I remember this episode, and I remember talking with Alan, I want to say at length at the end of it, going, it had so much potential, and yet kind of, I don't know, it let me down. It let me down at the end. And a lot of it was just because it was kind of tropey. You've got the unconfident ensign, right? Who always felt like she was doing something wrong and knew it because now people couldn't trust her work. Mm-hmm. You had the loner guy who pretty much hated everybody and, of course, ends up going crazy and trying to be the hero and fuck that up.
And then the hypochondriac.
Yeah, actually, I liked him. He was like the only one I liked. But at the end of it, I liked it was a great attempt at a good character study, and yet I feel like they missed the target. Nick?
I really had high hopes for this episode because Lower Decks is one of my favorite episodes of TNG.
Yeah.
And I was immediately impressed with the opening sequence, the track, the shot that goes from space into Janeway's ready room, and then you follow her as she goes to each one, and then the last scene, it pulls out from the window where that loner dude is looking out. I thought, wow, that was a really spectacular bookend to the teaser, to getting us into it, and something different for Star Trek. It felt really fresh. That shot.
The direction on it is not my issue.
I really enjoyed when she gets down to that dude and he's like, "Are you lost?"
Yeah.
And like doesn't care that she's the captain, and it was good to see other crew members, even though it's Voyager, so you'll never see them again. But the young people, what I thought it dropped the ball on was the manufactured jeopardy.
Yes.
Whereas Lower Decks succeeded so brilliantly because it all fit in with things that had gone on before with the First Duty and all of that.
And all of the Maquis stuff.
It was, yet another life form, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It would have been more interesting to me if they were just running an experiment and Janeway had time with each of them. Or, you know what? If they're going to rip off Lower Decks, then rip off Lower Decks. You have Janeway working with one of them, Torres working with the abrasive dude, because, I'm sorry, that would have been spectacular. Torres with an abrasive dude.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
you know what? Good call.
And how about Harry with all of his issues, and I don't mean that in a funny way, but being an ensign just out of the academy and all that, working with the girl who doesn't trust her own work.
I like that idea. It didn't have to be Janeway, although I understand why. It was cheaper to have one actor and 4 actors in one small room.
And to be fair, that was fitting in Janeway's personality.
It was.
To say, I don't even know if I've met these people.
Right.
Which, is a huge failing 6 years into being stuck in the Delta Quadrant. And, my thought was, okay, I'm going to give them a pass on this one because she had to have interacted them when they were stranded on that planet, when the Kazon took the ship and all of that. But
no, she didn't.
Well, there's only 100.
I think you're right. I think it speaks to her personality, at least throughout she's extremely military, right? She's that chain of command kind of gal.
But she's also a good shepherd. She also is that mothering.
To her tight-knit, to her bridge crew. That's her family. It's the people who are immediately around her or sit around her table in her conference room. Those are the people she will allow herself to get close to. Everybody else is just...
And by the way, I would love to have seen 7 with the hypochondriac.
What something I did like, and it was in regards to the grumpy guy down in the basement. What I did like was the idea or the premise that they had established that not everyone continues on. That some people were only here, or only joined Starfleet as like a requirement for something else, or for this was not their career.
Yeah,
choice.
he was on the starship to punch his ticket.
Exactly.
Right. To get where he had to go.
Exactly. And I kind of like that we got to see this other side of Starfleet where everyone's not gung-ho and wanting to be sitting in the captain's chair and blah, blah, blah. This was a guy this was just something he had to do.
And talk about the complete opposite of Janeway, right? Somebody who is looking at the mishappenstance, if you want to say it, by being stuck in the Delta Quadrant. She's trying to look at this as that Starfleet exploratory officer, and that is, well, we'll try to make the best out of a bad situation. And he, not having that mindset, has lost everything. He literally lost everything when they got stuck out there because...
Can you imagine being that guy who doesn't want to be on a ship in the first place? He'd rather be in a lab, and then think the Borg, the Undine, the K's, everything that they've gone through.
It's like living in Australia. Everything wants to kill you, right?
Yeah.
That's how we can think about it. The Delta Quadrant is the Australia of the Milky Way galaxy.
No, stop. Stop. I would say it's more the Gobi Desert.
No, the Gobi Desert doesn't have those fucking brown snakes that crawl into your house and shit, man.
Okay, it's the Africa of because did you see the Ebola outbreak, by the way?
Oh God, don't even start with me. I know that terrifies me. If there's one disease out there right now that has terrified me for 30 years, it's that.
That's why I'm glad I work where the lab is.
I don't blame you, you fucker.
You know what? No, don't be, because if there is a zombie outbreak, it's probably going to be from where I work. So, I love you all. I'll miss you.
Well, I agree. I think that this guy.
Is it me? Did you and Alan think that this episode just kind of ended abruptly?
I was perplexed by the end of it. I thought, God, it wasn't a bad episode by any stretch of the imagination. Again, it was a great character study, and it was fun to see new characters of people that were supposed to be on the ship.
Again, right. That was part of the problem.
Did we ever really see the bartender in Lower Decks again? No.
Yeah, but that's different.
No, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. It has everything to do
does, because that was,
it has everything to do with the fact that you can't pay all these people to
seventh season. Second of all, how many people on the Galaxy crew compared to the Voyager crew?
Again, how many people can they have as regulars on a television show?
I understand, but Voyager has made it far more so than look, than Enterprise. Wow, you know what I was trying to say there. The Next Generation.
He stumbled over his own words. Yes.
Where like Barclay kept showing up, Guinan kept. You would see people that showed up. You had people at the helm. You know what I mean? You would see people over and over. in the background.
I think Mike
these
had a
people
great...
we would never see again, even walking around in the background. Hey, the Borg kids, where'd the baby go?
I know.
Just saying. And Voyager is a much smaller crew.
So let's talk about Fury. Is it Fury is next, or is it Live Long and Prosper? Live Fast and Prosper.
Live Fast and Prosper. Best cosplay ever.
Refresh our memory.
Okay, it is about a group of con people, of con men, who dress up and get a bunch of information about Voyager, and then the group pretends to be...
Oh, Sister Vala. Yes.
The group pretends to be Janeway, and then they rip off a bunch of other people. They're like the Harry Mudds of the Delta Quadrant, except they use...
I really didn't care for this episode, but I will admit, at points, I laughed out loud, especially with their oversized comm badge and stuff.
Yes!
I love the fact that Neelix and Paris were like, "What's wrong with us? We got duped."
I know.
Yeah, they have a crisis of faith.
I think my favorite character in this one was the guy who played
the guy who was pretending to be Tuvok.
Tuvok.
And how he
really he actually loved the way that Starfleet thought he was it's not the Federation way. He was so into the role.
So much.
He was
awesome.
into the role. So yeah, it was a funny episode. I think the guest actress was fantastic. So it was a contrived thing, but it was very, very funny, and it was a nice break. I enjoyed that episode a lot.
Trying to outwit the Doc with the shell game. Oh man.
Nick, what about you? What did you think about that one?
Yeah, it was fun, and, it had its up moments, it had its, Voyager moments, but it's fun, just, if nothing else, for the costuming. And it does pull some fast ones on you.
It does. I think it's funny how you were bringing up the costuming, because there are some very minor, wonderful things about their costumes that are so great, because they're not quite right. Exactly. They're a little bit too big. They're not fitted quite right. The collars are slumpy. The comm badges are too big. And like you said, in cosplay,
it's like they were
that would
wearing
be very
someone
meta.
else's uniforms.
Yeah, and just not quite tailored correctly. But again, making it look like, well, this is a bunch of comm people who didn't have the ability to really get it quite right.
And I'm surprised that people were gullible enough to believe that the Delta Flyer, what their version of the Delta Flyer actually came from Voyager. I mean, there was no design elements in common.
But if you've never seen Voyager...
True, but there were a few scenes where the two were together, and it's like, wait a minute.
But a bunch of con people who were out conning other people who had never seen Voyager before and might have heard about it.
Because remember, Voyager's got a reputation now as a ship of death. If it comes into your area, something bad's going to happen.
I think you're right, Nick. I have to say, I did enjoy that episode. I laughed through it. I loved the guy who was playing the Tuvok character, and just how his research of his own role changed him as a person. I thought that was so funny. No, we can't do that. It's against the Prime Directive. I was like, God, he knows it better than...
He's
Anthony. Tom did. Tom really designed it.
Jumped into the role.
He did. It was very funny. So it was kind of the God. I didn't even realize we haven't even made it into season 7 talking about these. So we get to talk. Do we get to talk about Kess next? What do we get to talk about next for next week?
Muse, which was Joe Minosky's last script.
Oh.
The one where Torres crashes and she's the inspiration for the playwright on that planet.
Yeah. I'll be talking a lot about that episode.
Really? Okay, give us a little trailer. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
We started late. We can run a little late.
Yeah, that's true. We can. Let's talk about Muse.
Let's talk about Muse, because with your reaction there, I'm interested to see what you think.
It starts off fine. It starts off very interesting. Of course, she crash lands on a planet, and while she's trying to survive, she comes across a playwright who uses her stories as a means to. He's a playwright, and he as a means to write plays that would be important to his society. Right? He is
Jonathan Swift.
Well, he's a very Alan would know the name of the person better, but the first theater in our world, in humanity, the first real theater was exactly what was portrayed in this episode in Muse, which is Greek theater, which is Greek form of storytelling using masks and poetry to tell a story that would effect or elicit an emotional response from an audience. very, very unlike anything that had ever been done before. And I'm under the impression that's what this guy was. He was this playwright who was telling important stories in that mythological term to kind of effect change, because all of these plays were being provided to the leadership of his country or his world, right? So B'Elanna's stories that she tells him get twisted and put into stories that now affect the status and the change of this entire planet. So unknowingly, he starts off changing everything anyway. The stories that she goes through, that Joseph Campbell kind of, the hero, the trials and tribulations of a hero, and the poet and the playwright takes these and he moves on with them. What bothered me about the end of this episode was that she takes that final leap of knowingly ignoring Prime Directive and saying, fuck it, let's totally affect this planet by me participating and using a transporter to do it, because it'll make this one person feel better. Did she fix anything? I don't think so. Did she make it worse? Probably. That's another one of those Voyager episodes where I kind of want to go back and find out, and it happened in the original series a lot too, you guys. I'm not saying it didn't, but it happened in the original series a lot, where there are a lot of planets. Like, I would love to go back to, what is it, Iota, whatever, where the
piece of the action
went. What the hell happened after the Federation?
Well, that was
said they wanted their piece of the action. Huh?
That was originally one of the ideas for Star Trek II that became the Wrath of Khan, was going back to that planet.
Wouldn't that have been a fascinating thing? This is another one of the Voyager planets that they have affected. The ones that they affect unknowingly, like the one where the time was different, where their planet got stuck in the atmosphere and became a part of that world's mythology because they were stuck there. That to me isn't as egregious.
It was more than their mythology. It was part of their culture. I mean, their civilization grew up around Voyager.
Right. But not through their own intentional doing. It's an accident. And even showing how an accident can affect another culture, right? In this one, in Muse, yes, an accident affects their culture because she accidentally crashes on their planet. And she unknowingly gives this guy a bunch of information about how her world works and how the outside, all of those stories, he takes without her knowledge and starts to use it. The problem I had is at the very end.
Well, he had already gotten a lot of it out of the computer, which kind of makes me wonder, how in the hell was he able to access the computer?
There was a few things about this one.
Yeah.
But I think for me it was mostly it wasn't intentional on her behalf for the most part until the very end, when all of a sudden she's like, oh, well, the cat's out of the bag, I'll just throw a few more cats out there. And that's and we'll allow those ideas to breed. That wasn't her call to make.
A little bit of, I have to agree with Sun. She says, but Torres isn't Starfleet, she's Maquis. And Torres had a relationship with this guy. She as someone who was Maquis, she was loyal to the friendship, and that's what I think was her motivation. Was she was really more there for the guy, because he didn't have a good ending, and he was going to end up suffering and paying the ultimate price.
A lot of artists do, though.
So I think she was just didn't want to leave him like that. She was trying to be a friend.
I'm not doubting that whatsoever. The thing I have is, why didn't at the end we see her get her, and this is something I'll totally agree with Nick on forever and a day now, is he blows it like this: Maquis or not, he was already told you have to adhere by Federation rules, and why doesn't she walk around with a hot poker sticking out of her ass that was placed there by Janeway after she fucks up?
True, she should have.
Like Kim, Kim is always the one who gets caught. Why doesn't B'Elanna in this one? B'Elanna should have been strung up by her thumbs for this.
That's true. I agree. There was no punishment, no recourse, that is true. But Alan does say that it was to try to stop a war. So maybe
was that her call to make? No. And that's the problem that's the problem, and that you have is why was her? I mean, I don't know. It's just, I always like to put ourselves into a situation that the way that Star Trek is supposed to work is that if we were to turn around and put ourselves into somebody else's shoes, and in this case, if we were and we are, if we're a planet that has, conflicts, if an outside influence, meaning an actual alien, came down and influenced one of those countries, would that be fair? Is that fair? That's how I think about it. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. And for somebody to say, "Oh, I did it out of friendship," yeah, that's all well and good, but you're an outside influence. You don't belong here. You have no right to make changes like that just because that's how you feel. That's how you feel our lives should be.
Yes, but their presence would have caused just the fact that they were there in the first place, accident or not, would have caused issues as well.
Right, but in this particular case where nobody knew who she was, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think of her as being an outsider. They didn't think of her as being the only person who knew was the playwright. He kept her a secret.
Yep.
So it was just, to me, it was just a really kind of distasteful end to what was turning out to be a pretty good episode. I just wish that instead of her having to do Deus Ex Machina, literal Deus Ex Machina by use of the transporter and saying, "Oh, I have magic something or other," that God damn it, why it didn't need to end that way. And that's what pissed me off, was that it was a cheap ass ending. It was like, once again, Nick, and your point, which was, "Oh, we're running out of time. We have to fix it fast."
Well, here's what I think of this episode. There's no explosions. There's no firefights. There's no real false jeopardy, like, all of a sudden a giant space amoeba is coming in and getting them.
Very true.
It's a well-crafted, except for, like you say, I could go either way on the ending, because I agree with what Mike's saying. I also agree with what you're saying, so I could go either way on that one.
Yeah.
But I saw it also as Joe Menosky talking about the television industry.
Oh, interesting.
The
Very
pressure,
interesting take.
Because the playwright's got to come up with a new play every week.
Yeah.
And he's just pulling from here and there and putting it together and slapping it together. And hey, if it's got remember, he doesn't know the ending of his own play.
Right.
So I saw it as kind of a commentary on the studio system and all of that, of trying to get the show out.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take on it too. I didn't even think about that. But you're right. You're very right. It has everything to do with, not just television writing, but writing in general. And now look at where we're at. We're at reality TV. Right?
But I would definitely say more television, because the show's got to air every week.
Yeah. And you got to keep
like
your
Lauren
boss
Michael
happy.
says about Saturday Night Live, it doesn't go on the air because it's ready. It goes on the air because it's 11:30.
Right.
So, so it just, I saw it as Menosky saying, "Look, I love the process. I love what I do. But boy, goddamn, it's hard."
Yeah, I can see that. And once you get is he making an excuse and saying, "Well, our endings suck because we have no way to end them"?
Oh, sometimes. Yeah. Or, sometimes there's outside factors that go into these episodes where they may have it plotted out, and then CBS, not John Van Sitters, because he's an amazing individual who we adore tremendously, says no.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah. They say, well, because think back to when Voyager was on. The trailers that they were putting out for the episodes had zero to do. It was all about explosions and things getting blown up real big, like. And a lot of times it wasn't even, it was from another episode. It wasn't even from that episode. I'm thinking of one where Seven in the trailer was like, it pissed me off so bad that I still remember it to this day.
Wow.
She was like, "I will return to the collective." That was from another episode. It wasn't from the episode that they were putting the trailer on for. But they spliced it in there to make it look like Seven was going back to the collective, which you knew wasn't going to happen anyway, because Jerry Ryan is the main title character.
Right.
So, sometimes it just falls apart because you're trying to get it done, and then they're like, "Look, script has to be done." And whereas originally this, reading These Are the Voyages, Mike, and Terry, you've read it, you could see where, it was script, and then all of a sudden, or if you've read David Gerald's The Trouble with Tribbles, and his writing of that script and how things came together. Now, he had an awesome, that's a really good book if you haven't read it, but I just saw it as a really good commentary on the television industry.
Yeah, and one that Star Trek has had to deal with for the past going on 50 years.
And doing what Star Trek can do, telling a story.
In spite of the corporate
in another setting.
Right.
And making you think about it.
Right.
Now,
That's the one
of course,
thing I will always love about the fact that Star Trek, in spite of all of the bullshit, they still managed to get some really great storytelling out there.
And they didn't have, from TNG forward, they didn't have the problems that Gene and everybody else had with TOS, where, you can't discuss the Vietnam War. Okay, well, we know that the Xindi arc is a post 9/11 arc, and there was no hiding that. So they whereas, the original series, because of the time it was done compared to the more flexibility and freedom that screenwriters have now to say, no, this is a parallel. We're talking about this.
Yeah, I
think of the episode.
They do have more freedom.
The episode of
that now,
Enterprise where T'Pol gets
I think a lot about that is right. I think a lot about that is about the society as well. As people expect that now, and I hate to say it, but I think a lot of that is because of the preponderance of using news and very up-to-date news in all of the procedurals that are out there.
I was going to say Law and Order. Yeah,
Law and Order for damn sure. Absolutely, Law and Order. They could pump out. It used to frighten me.
They can have it 2 weeks after it's
2 weeks exactly. They could get a new episode out 2 weeks after something occurred,
and
people
done
are used
so
to
that's
it.
Yeah,
and so
but I also think that in the 60s, I don't want to say they underestimated the audience. I don't want to say they underestimated the audience.
No,
but I think television was still such a new medium that it was still in the crawl phase.
Well, there are certain things, right? There are certain things that ever since the code as well, right? Until the 60s. Yeah. When did the code get right? So we still had the code. The production code was there, and so you couldn't show people sleeping together. You couldn't show, there were the taboo subjects: religion, politics, anything along those lines. You veered away from.
Politically, think about it. They were terrified that stations in the South would not show Plato's stepchildren because of the kiss.
Right.
Think what it would take now for one of, and I'm going to say the big four networks, not cable, any of that, but ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox.
Correct.
What is it going to take? Terry, you remember, I think it was the late 80s, maybe the early 90s, when Roseanne had the same-sex kiss, and it was all the, oh my God, they're going to have a same-sex kiss. What would it take to be, it would have to be a live female circumcision.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, after if Fox plays anything from Seth MacFarlane, we've pretty much breached every taboo subject out there, including female circumcision, I'm sure.
I'm sure somewhere in Family Guy it's been, but...
I'm sure. But I think we're pretty much tapped out on taboo subjects. What we've done now is our society is broken out into people who won't watch them and people who do. Big deal. That's the freedom of being able to watch what you want.
Do you remember the fear? Now, Paul's still here. Okay, yeah, Paul's still here. So Paul, Terry, I know you're old enough. Alan, I'm not sure Sunsail's age, and I'm not going to ask, so I'm going to assume that she's too young to remember this. See what I did there, Terry? Do you remember the absolute front page, non-stop lead up to the day after?
Oh, it would not end. I refused to watch it because I was tired of it by then.
Nothing more than a mediocre TV movie about nuclear war.
Yep.
But that was all this is going to be so graphic. Now, again, for a made-for-TV movie and all of that, it did. But, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes people...
And there he goes. He hits the wall going, that's all you can do sometimes is throw your hands up in the air.
And we've also gotten to a point in the U.S., now, I can't speak for other nations because I don't know what they go through, but we've also gotten to the point where everything... Okay, Bill Maher at times can drive me to want to throw a bucket of hepatitis on him.
All right, Dennis Miller does the same for me.
Right, and at other times, and this is for both of them, and at other times I'm like, wow, amazing point and way to use sarcasm or comedy or misdirection.
Agreed.
Bill Maher did something this week that, one, it shocked me he did, but two, it was so brutal in its honesty, and he even commented on it. They were talking about Paul Ryan and what Paul Ryan said about the inner cities and people needing to rise, to work to rise above where they're at. And of course, all the panelists on the show were saying how racist it was and everything. And then he read another quote by him, and they started to say again how racist he was. And then Maher said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was Michelle Obama who said that." And
Yeah, I heard about
literally
that.
dead silence. And he even turned to the audience and he said, "Oh, uncomfortable silence." And that's where we've gotten to is, oh, well, person X said this, they're a racist, they can't be. But if person Y says the exact same thing, well, that's okay because I agree with them on 90% of the things. And it's just like, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Just, I want to live in Dick Van Dyke's world, in the Dick Van Dyke Show with Maury
With the
and
walnuts in the
Rosemary.
closet.
But, oh God. And with the big rock in the basement.
And now poor Sori is sitting in the corner going, what the fuck are they talking about?
I know.
Sorry, Michael.
But it just, this script made me think of all the things that they have to put up with in television. You know, what's taboo? What's not taboo?
Right.
What can we say? What can we not say? What can we show? What can we not show? Oh, we saw Dennis Franz's bare ass, so it's okay. You know what I mean?
I remember that. Mike, you may not remember. Do you remember Hill Street Blues?
No, that wasn't Hill Street Blues.
It was Blue. Chicago.
No, NYPD Blue.
NYPD Blue. It was one of those shows, all at the same. And it was a big deal to see a fat man's butt on TV. I remember laughing my ass off, going, "Really? This is what we're all upset about, is seeing a pair of tushy." And meanwhile, we get a full backside of T'Pol on Enterprise.
Wow, there's a good reason for that. But,
Well, I'm just saying,
you know
why should there be? Again, it just goes.
Why can a movie in the theater show a man nude, but a woman's nudity is evil?
Oh, I agree with you on that. You know that.
And quite frankly, I'd rather look at T'Pol naked than Trip. And Trip's not a bad-looking man, but I'm just saying.
Well, that goes for you. However, Connor Turnier totally wins.
But you're more likely to see that in an R-rated movie than you can.
It goes back to what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. Yeah. The U.S. has been and always will be divided along the lines of what is considered to be immoral, and
we're strangely puritanical on certain things.
Absolutely strangely puritanical on a lot of issues. Absolutely. Which is why we end up with the disconnect in our television viewing. That's why we have people who love to make fun of other people. I call it it's almost like a Jay Leno effect. Why is the Tonight Show so popular right now?
Because Jimmy Fallon's good.
Because Jimmy Fallon is good. And why is Jimmy Fallon good? Because
he's very much like Johnny Carson.
His humor isn't about taking people down. Jay Leno, all he could do, every kind of goddamn thing he had out there, it's like, oh, let's go out to the dumb person out on the street. Let's make fun of all the stupid people or the naive people, or let's make people. He fed off of America's need to hate.
And your Fallon is much more middle America, just like Johnny Carson was.
Fallon, I think, speaks to all of what we would rather be, right? Which is, it's okay to be playful with each other, but not make fun of each other at each other's expense.
Fallon is not too hip for the room. Jay started to think he was too hip for the room.
Jay has no better. Jay, as a matter of fact, to me, was worse than the people that he was making fun of at any given time. Not even who's the insult, the famous Don Rickles. Don Rickles, famous insult comic, right? Famous insult comic, absolutely. But at the end of every single one of his routines, you could see the love he had for the person who dealt with his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
He never made that person walk away feeling like he wanted to commit suicide or wasn't worthwhile. Any person and that's where America is right now. America and its television viewing audience is, let's watch reality TV and make fun of all the stupid people so I can feel better about myself.
But isn't that because...
It is so fucking American.
But isn't that also the social media world we live in, where people hide behind their screen names and say the most vile things they can?
Absolutely.
Where, I've become pretty good friends, like chatting daily with Sadie Grace, who was on our show. Now, you've seen her.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody called her a pig the other day.
I know. Talk about it. There was a great little article about. Please forgive me. I don't remember the actress's name, but I guess she was in the Hunger Games. I haven't seen any of the Hunger Games films. And
did somebody pick on Jennifer Lawrence? Because I will have to hurt them.
Well, and that was the thing, is that the interviews that this actress was participating in, I guess her character is like one of the main, I almost want to say antagonists to the Jennifer Lawrence character. And so as media will do, they try to sell shit. How do they sell shit in the United States right now? And that is, oh, they hate each other. Oh, I want to buy this because, so it's gossip. It's nothing more than really bad elementary school gossip. And so these media people come in with this interview going, oh, well, how would you be if your character took over or was able to move on with the hungry? And she, without missing a beat, looked at this person in the face and said, I am really, really tired of people pitting, especially women against each other in order to take them down. I would rather live in a world where we as women support each other and say, hey girl, good for you, great for you, love you, so happy for you, and be a better human being about shit. And she just fucking walked away. I was like, I love her. That's exactly what's wrong with our society right now. And it's not just the internet. This has been fed on to us. And this is something that we do. And why do we do it? It's easy. It's a lot easier to sit down and tear somebody down to try to make yourself feel better than it is to turn around, look at that person, and try to love them in spite of the fact that they're doing something better than you. It's all about jealousy. It's all about envy. It's all about bullshit. And we need to learn, you know what? Sometimes somebody does something better than you. Sometimes somebody's more talented than you. Sometimes somebody's prettier than you. Does that make them better than you? You have to learn how to say no.
I was recently unfriended by a pretty well-known author because I had a different opinion than him.
Well, having a different opinion and being able to...
But I was never rude or anything like that, but because I had a different opinion...
Then that's okay.
But doesn't that say something about where we've come?
It
says that person doesn't have the strength of their own convictions to handle someone who disagrees with them.
I totally disagree. I don't want to hang around people whose opinions are so diverse from mine.
It's not that diverse.
I would never be a friend with you in real life anyway.
This is a person. No, this is a person that says, okay. No.
I think I know who you're talking about, and I'd rather not end the show on that note.
Yeah, because this is a person who routinely rips down the political opponents and says the most vile things and uses really ugly language. But when I said I think both parties are full of shit, I was unfriended for that.
Well, then guess whose fault that was?
No, they're not. They're not. The one side is far worse than the other.
Guess whose
and I was like, wow. You're an educated person, and yet you can't handle something that...
But that's their right to be able to say no.
It's also their right to be...
People, as a judge once told me, people have the right to make the wrong decision.
Yeah, I made 2 of them from now. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did.
Hopefully 3rd time's a charm, knock knock.
No, you don't ever use the word hopefully. Be more confident than that, sweetheart.
3rd time's a charm?
Very good. Period. End of sentence.
Oh, I'm going to get a text as soon as I say that.
Yeah, you are. Oh, well.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I get the texts that are nothing more than like the one small eye and the one big eye, and I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, listening to the show. Okay, again, in our show, that could be for anything. That could be, for the intro. What are you talking about?
Oh, well. We need to tie things up because I know that we got other people who are podcasting today. We already lost Black Magnum.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's all right.
Did I say that?
Mike, do we have any announcements, my dear?
Well, I don't know about you, but I have not seen anyone complain about getting disconnected from the audio stream. So
isn't that weird?
I'm thinking that issue has finally been resolved. So
awesome.
Yay!
Yay for Mike.
Which means the next issue that I need to work on is the chat room.
Well, that's wonderful news. Don't forget, everybody. A lot of Star Trek books are coming out. I'm very excited about that. We've got head over to Ad Astra if you are in the mood to read some great fanfic. Some new stuff is being posted. I believe that Jespa is still posting her work over at our forum as correct. Isn't that right? Jespa's still busting her tushy and posting some of her work at the G&T forum. If you have a question for Dayton Ward, please don't hesitate. Please, please, please send it to us at hosts@gntshow.com. Things for the convention. What was that?
I'm sorry. The next 2 weeks, I will be gone, the 6th and the 13th, because I will be off out of town doing shooty army things.
Shooty army things.
I have my week of annual training coming up, so I will be out. We've already discussed with somebody who said they would be here to take my seat, and when I come back in 3 weeks, we'll be out of my seat, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Sounded like Elvis Presley right there.
Thank you very much.
So yes, We have a guest host for the next couple of weeks. It'll be the Battle of the Voices, I think.
I should be getting my notes back, for the script I wrote for Zigguris this week.
Excellent. Excellent. So how many is that now for Zig?
Well, the first script that I wrote was a two-parter. Then I wrote some mini-sodes, and then this one. But the mini-sodes and this one are the mini-sodes got scrapped for this one. So yeah, so 3 scripts all together so far.
Wonderful. We're in the midst of getting things finalized and tied up for the Star Trek Las Vegas convention. As you guys know, Kipley Brown will be appearing at the G&T show booth, and depending on what we hear from creation, Mr. Mark Cushman might be joining us or might not. It depends.
He's invited anyways.
He is invited, and if things don't work out with creation, then he'll be with us. If things do work out with creation, then Mark will have his own table at the Creation Center area. And that's just kind of all we're waiting on. But for right now, we definitely have Kipley on Friday and Saturday, possibly Sunday, depending on how well things go. He is also going to...
Since we didn't get to it earlier, GNT Show got a little shout out on her post on her site.
On the Creation site? Yeah, they're actually telling everybody that she's going to be at our booth, which is great.
That's awesome.
And James Kerwin will be with her as well. Mr. Kerwin's going to be joining us. And if you do not know who James Kerwin is, he's the director of Yesterday Was a Lie. He was also the director of episode 3 of Star Trek Continues, which will be out before the convention starts. He's also the director for RUR, which stars both Kipley Brown and Chase Masterson. And it's my understanding he'll be bringing that along as well. So we'll be projecting RUR, at least the mini, so the kind of like the extended trailer. We'll be having that at our booth as well. So yay! I'm very excited about that. It's going to be great.
Look at us like we're somebody.
I know, huh? What do you know? And our congratulations again to the Empress, Miss Mary Schwinski, for her role in NCIS Los Angeles.
And John Van Sitters, I still hold by the idea. We have you stand there and we do a John Van Sitters kissing booth.
I'd donate some money to that.
I had an idea for a product I would like to get licensed, but I forget now. I should have wrote it down. I know what it is.
Klingon body spray, Batleth body spray, like Axe?
No.
Yeah, John already nixed my idea for the adult line of stuff, but no.
With the ridges?
With the ridges, yeah.
I want licensed Star Trek Shadow Cups.
What's wrong?
What's wrong with us? I'm wearing my new Riker t-shirt, the one with the angles. Have you seen that one? With the Riker lean, right? I'm wearing that one right now, as a matter of fact. The Riker lean. The full Riker.
Okay, we got it.
I'm working on an idea for a little presentation I'm going to put on during Vegas, during the convention, and it is going to be a little scripted little puppet show.
Oh, cute!
Something for the kids,
I love it.
Yeah,
that's great. Alrighty.
A few guinea pigs
something
here
for the kids.
I'll be experimenting on.
I like something for the kids. Something for the whole family. Mike's going to make Klingon balloon animals. It's a tarp.
Can you imagine a little balloon batleth? So cute.
Mike's going to be staring at the wall all day now trying to picture how to make one.
I'm already
all right, you guys, we really do have to...
I'm already on the way to the store to pick up some balloons now.
Some balloons in practice.
Balloons.
Balloons. All right, bye everyone. Goodbye.
Bye everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you next week for episode 137.
Bye. Janice. Joe Lantro.
GNT Show is a busy little Beaver production.
Music for the GNT Show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
Gonna take a 5-year tour. Boldly go where no man's gone before. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends. Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race, and we make this a happy place. take a tour